Hello beautiful people, my name is Ami, my pronouns are he, him, and in this video today I'm going to be sharing the lessons I have learned from my time living abroad. I've lived in 5 different countries in the last year and a half in Latin America, and it's taught me a lot, and I'm going to be sharing some of those lessons with you today. One of the first lessons I learned after living abroad was that my body didn't hate me. It just wanted quality food, it just wanted rest, it just wanted ease, it just wanted peace. I think for a long time I felt like I was fighting against my body. I was so upset or frustrated because even at a young age, and mind you, I left to move abroad when I was about 23 years old. I had so much back pain. I was having gastrointestinal issues, like my bones was cracking. I had mental health issues, so many things, and I was like, why does my body hate me? Like, why can't I have like a solid relationship with my body? And I realized that number one, I was grinding it. Like when we talk about grind culture and things like that, I don't think we really realize what that is indicating. Like we like gears grind, and it's just very impactful, very like forceful action. And I think of the damage that can be done, like for me, a few years of my life, but so in long term. So I think for me, I had to learn, and I saw like from going to the physical therapist and like realizing how many knots and things I had in my back, and realizing that this wasn't due because my body was not a safe place to be in. This was due to generational trauma. This was due to the work and the overworking that I put myself through. This is from the lack of rest. This is from the lack of quality foods. This is the lack of me listening to my body, and so many others. Another thing I learned was that my way of seeing the world or doing things was not the only way. I had to quickly learn that what I was taught in the States as far as the right way to live, the right way to do things, a lot of time was embedded in a lot of elitism, it was a lot of classism, it was a lot of so many isms and systems and things like that. But even outside of that, I had to learn to be more open-minded, that there's more than one way of doing something. And the reason I say this is because I think I was brought up in my household. You learn how to do something, that's the way you do it, you keep on doing it that way, that's the right way. But that's not the case, and I had to quickly learn that, and I think that was a first stepping stone for me of being more open-minded, of like, I think the first step is realizing your way or your way of seeing things is not the only way, and also realizing there isn't technically a right way either, but also that I think it creates a lot more space to explore and to think of other things, if that makes sense. Something I've realized more recently that I learned is that it's safe to dream, and it's safe to feel. Growing up, especially socialized as a cis woman, I really had a hard time with feeling my feelings. I didn't really know what feeling was. For a long time, I thought I was feeling. It was just me intellectualizing things I was experiencing within my body, as far as reactions to things. That was just me intellectualizing it. But I think it's because at a very young age, living in the States, and also just the things I have seen and faced and dealt with growing up, I was taught that it wasn't safe to feel. I was taught that it wasn't safe to be in my body. It wasn't safe to dream, because if I dreamed too big, then I would just disappoint myself. If I felt too much, then I would be debilitated from the fullness or the complexity or whatever it was of the feeling, that I wouldn't be able to recover. I was so afraid that if I started feeling, because I knew I had so much in me of like anger and sadness and hurt and grief and whatever the case may be, and I was so afraid that if I were to feel the fullness of that I wouldn't survive, that I wouldn't be able to get through it, because it would be too much. And because it was too much, it was just a lot easier just to push it down, to get rid of it, and to not deal with it. So I've learned that it's safe to dream. It's safe to look at the world around me and see more than that. It's safe and it's okay and it's beautiful to feel my feelings, to notice the sensation in my body and feel it, and to sit with it, and so many other things. It's safe to dream. It's safe to feel. Another thing I learned is that I have so much capacity when I have more. And I think I want to keep that open, because when I have more, so many other things, when I have more rest, when I have more access to my joy, when I have more good foods, when I have more moments of happiness, when I have more community, when I have more moments of learning and growing and realizing how much I'm learning and growing, like when I have when I have more space and I feel like I can take up more space to invite those things into my life, I feel like I have so much more to offer the world and the people I love and the people around me. And that really is groundbreaking for me, because I realized for a long time, a lot of my relationships, I was very upset with myself, because I was like, I feel like I'm not showing up in these relationships in an intentional way. I'm not showing up the way I want to. I'm not being the child, the sibling, the friend, the cousin, all these different like identities that I hold. I'm not doing them to the fullness that I want to. And I realized, because I wasn't good. Like I didn't have what I needed, so how was I going to give someone else what they needed or wanted? And I'm not saying that we can't, still pour into others as we're pouring into ourselves, whatever, but it's like I really feel like, and I really want to lean into the idea of us pouring from our overflow and finding those things that completely overflow our cup, because I think that overflow for the right people is such a nourishing thing. Like for the people I'm really in community with, that I know are really aligned with me and that I love who I am and my joy, and when I feel like my fullest self, they are filled by that as well. And I don't know, I think it's a beautiful thing. Another thing I learned is that my worth is not tied to my productivity. And I mean this very specifically and very pointedly, because I think I tied my worth to more than productivity. I've tied it to not just much like, and I think productivity, I had a lot of, again, growing up as an assumed Black woman, and I saw this somewhere, but we're brought up and conditioned in this world to be in service to everyone and everything else except for ourselves. And we're taught that in order to be of worth, we have to be giving to someone else. I had to detach the idea in my head that I had to be giving in order to be worthy, or in order to be a good person. I thought for the longest time, because I watched my grandmother, my mother, and all the people in my life that I respected that were Black women, I saw them continuously giving and pouring and giving and nourishing and all the ways that they could. But I realized that I didn't want to tie my identity to that, and I realized that my worth wasn't tied to that. I had to really sit with, and detach from these ideas of people pleasing, all these things, but also just like I was not made in this world, brought to this world to serve others. And it's embedded in the history of the socialization of Black women in the United States of America, that we were always in service to someone. The whole history of America, like the Black woman has always been the person that was in service to someone, whether it's the white man, whether it's the Black man, whether it's their children, whatever the case may be. And I think because I gave myself this space to just be myself and just be with myself and only had to worry about myself, I was able to separate the fact that I'm just innately worthy. Who I am, the fact that I'm breathing, that I'm existing, I am worthy of these things that I thought I had to earn. I'm worthy of love. I'm worthy of beautiful friendships. I'm worthy of nourishing meals. I'm worthy of being seen and respected for who I am. All these different things. And I feel like for a long time I thought I had to earn it. And I'm so glad that I'm learning, because I still think it is a process to detach from that. That what I do, what I give, none of that has anything to do, is not connected to my worth as a person. The fact that I am here, the fact that I am breathing, and the fact that I exist makes me innately worthy. The last thing I'm going to say, and some people may think this is a little weird or whatever, but it's honest. Moving abroad and living outside of this country, and kind of really like stepping outside of my comfort zone and being in a new environment that I had never been in before, that forced me to do so many things. I learned that life was worth living. All throughout college and all throughout college, high school, I had dealt with mental health significantly in college. I had so many times of content warning, talks about the ending of life and things like that. But I had so much, suicidal ideation. And I thought for a long time that my life was just going to be a continuance of me enduring. And I saw my life purpose as me enduring enough to, me trying to survive and endure enough to find something good. Whether that was me wanting to be a lawyer and see change in the justice system, or whether that was me working to get a certain amount of money and have a house or a car, or me growing to a certain age to have a family, or whatever the case may be. I always thought that life was like, you have to endure, you have to survive so you can get to this point. And I guess moving abroad and living abroad taught me that it taught me that I can live now. You know what I mean? Like I don't have to wait. Like I can live now, and like that life, I feel like I was able to see that there's more to life than just surviving. You know, like I was able to see that there is more to all of this, what I've been taught, American dream, whatever, we're indoctrinated into understanding. I was realizing, and I had to sit with and realize that that's not it. Life is feeling, life is loving, life is finding the small pockets of joy and feeling them as much and as long as you can and savoring them. Life is the parts of you that smile when you have a nice meal, or when you meet someone new, and those butterflies, like all these different things. That's what life is. I know that we feel nice things even in the States and in this constant feeling of survival, but I guess I really didn't understand life, and I guess for a lot of time, for me, it didn't feel like it was worth living. And now that I feel like I've felt just a little bit of what life feels like in this time, life is worth living. And don't get me wrong, I'm still dealing with shit. So like sometimes things are rough, even now. Navigating some tough waters right now in my life and my journey, but it feels worth it. I feel like when I look, I dare myself to dream, and when I dream about my future, I see myself happy. I see myself smiling. I see myself looking in the mirror and being happy with the person that I am. I see myself at the end of life feeling like I came here, I did everything that I could, and that it was enough, and it was fulfilling, and it was fun, and it was all these different things. It felt, when I think of life and my future, I feel hope, and I don't think I had that. So crying is okay, tears are okay, but I just want folks to realize and to help folks relate to this conversation. And maybe you don't feel these things, and maybe the things I'm saying right now, you relate more to the things I was feeling before I left the States, and that's okay. Wherever you are in your journey is valid, but I just want people to know life is worth living. Once we get out of this simulation and this like idea, or these things that we've indoctrinated into like what we think is life, which is actually just survival and enduring and suffering, life is worth living.